Hello, beautiful viewers. Welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel, Her Divine Vibe. We talk a lot about self-love on here, and I think one of the biggest mirrors that is going to show you where you're truly at with your self-love is your relationships, especially your romantic ones, right? So I kind of wanted to get on here today and share an experience that I had with breadcrumbing. And I know that a lot of us have been there and we've accepted it for some crazy reason, but we were just maybe not self aware. We were not reading between the lines, and some of our lovers are just, they were really good at manipulating and selling a dream, selling a potential of something they knew that we really, really wanted. So I know that there's a lot of talk about breadcrumbing, and I don't really like the word, but I don't know what else to call it. I mean, just being led on. And I think sometimes you have to experience that, or like you experience it when you don't have strong sense of self-worth, because you can feel it. I feel like you definitely can feel when someone is just not being consistent with what they're saying and their actions, right? So I'll just briefly share my story with it because this happened last year. And I mean, I'm sure maybe I have been breadcrumbed before, but honestly, no. This was the first time that I've experienced something like this. And I was just so confused, and like I was literally going crazy because obviously the person that is doing that to you is not going to admit that that's what they're doing. And maybe they don't even realize that that's what they're doing. And that's even crazier to think, right? They're just believing their own delusions. And that's why we have to trust our instincts, our heart, and, those just like feelings of, I'm not sure. Mm, I'm not sure. Like we have that intuition that is so strong, and we just need to learn to trust it more. The thing is that sometimes we wait to see something to actually believe it instead of believe before we see. And this is why I was like thrown off, because I thought I had a very strong relationship with my intuition, but for the sake of love, for the sake of wanting to be in a relationship and wanting to be with this guy, I was definitely kind of just like, oh, give him a chance, give him a chance. So this was a relationship that was long distance, and it lasted for about 10 months. There was a little break up in between, but I ended up going back. um, but here's the thing, like, he knew I really wanted to be in a relationship. And I think I made that very clear. I was clear. Like in the beginning, we were kind of like, we were setting the boundaries of, we're getting to know each other. We're getting to see if this is something that we want to do together. But at some point, I made it very clear, like, I would love for this to be a relationship. And at some point, or in the very beginning, he was very much telling me things of how he was going to move over here. He was going to get a condo. He was, I was living with my mom at the time. It was a hard situation for me. And he was like, I got you. Don't worry. I'm going to get it. And even if I'm not there, you can go move in there. And like in the back of my mind, I never was like, oh my God, yes, because I didn't want to be with him to get out of my situation with my home situation. I really wanted to be with him because I felt like I loved him, and I felt like this was going to be my partner. Just a little background: I've been single for a really, really long time. I've been single for over 5 years. So at this point in my life, if I'm taking the time to date you and exclusively date you, it's because I really want something serious. I'm not messing around. I'm not in that mindset right now. So he knew that, and he was older than me. He was mid 30s. So I felt like, okay, this he's had his fun. He's explored because he also had been single for a really long time. So I just felt like, okay, this could be something, right? And I was willing to do the long distance, even though I made it very clear that's not what I wanted. But because he was telling me, like, don't worry, this is temporary. This is just for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3. And I'm like, I could do that. I could do 2 or 3 months. It's worth the wait. And we would text all the time, every day. But I was not his girlfriend. We were just exclusively dating, going with the flow. But again, at some point, I knew that I wanted this to be serious. And I was very much wondering, where was the disconnect that he didn't want to? Um, I mean, so, there was just this weird feeling of like, I feel like when a man wants to, he will. Um, and he was saying all the right things. And he was making all these sweet promises to me. And also, he was in a way like making me feel guilty in the moments where I was kind of expressing to him how it was really hard for me to do long distance when we hit like month 4 or 5. And so yeah, I expressed to him my feelings, but he kind of just like dismiss them and would just say like, oh, just be patient, like it's happening, like it's in the works, and oh my god, like our life together is going to be so beautiful, like our life together is going to be amazing, like talking about kids, talking about the future, talking about family, like making it seem like he really wanted this, but also he wasn't committing. So you're talking to me about, you want me to be your wife, you could see me being the mother of your children, which I take very serious. We're too grown to be playing around and playing house. So if you're saying those things, it's because you really see me as that. So I'm just thinking, okay, he's talking about all these things, but like there's no real commitment. Like, I'm not even your girlfriend. We're just, in to him, dating exclusively. And again, I was willing to take that because I was like, okay, he's gonna move out here, and he's talking all this talk, so it's gonna turn into something. And months went by and months went by, and I kept expressing to him, this is really hard for me. This is really hard for me. I'm doing my best. And there was just always this guilt tripping me and making it seem like I'm, asking for too much. And, you know, maybe I was a little impatient, but I wasn't desperate. It wasn't desperateness. And maybe in the moment it came off as that, right? Because I can look back at this situation and realize like I really just wanted to be with him, and I think he knew that. So he wanted all the benefits of me, right? My attention, my love. And he did visit me. He tried his best. He would visit me once a month for like a day or two, which I feel like was such a tease. And again, it's not, I feel like it sounds like I'm being ungrateful, but I just felt like he was just teasing me. Like I know, because I knew him and I knew that he was very ambitious, very goal oriented. And he always would say, I get what I want, or like, he always, yeah, got what he wanted. So I just felt like if he really wanted me, he would do it. He would make it happen. He would stay longer. He would stay for a week. Like, his job didn't require him to be in the city where he was living. Like, there was a lot of little red flags that it just like it wasn't adding up to me. And when I brought it up to him, he would be like, oh, you're crazy, you're looking too much into it, oh, it's not that deep, or just like, no, I'm telling you, I'm gonna get there, it's just not yet. Or he would, and the more months that would go by, the less clear the plan was. And I was just feeling so confused because on the phone, our conversations were amazing. Sometimes, like we would talk about everything. He was like my best friend, he was my lover. But when it came to like the real, what a relationship is and like building something together, because that's what it felt like. It didn't even at this point, it didn't feel like we were dating exclusively. Like we are talking on the phone every day, we are texting every day. And I mean, from what I remember, that was something that he really wanted. If I went like 2 days without texting him, I don't think he really liked that. So, you're wanting all this time and attention from me, but you don't want to be my boyfriend. You don't want me to be your girlfriend. You just want to stay in exclusively dating. And I was just taking what I could get in hopes that it would eventually turn into a relationship. But I was going crazy and I just felt so neglected in a way because, again, in the back of my mind, I'm like, if he really wanted to, he would. He's really just teasing me. Like he's giving me a little bit and telling me I should be grateful for it. It's better than nothing, or I don't know, just like kind of just making me feel bad for wanting him to be, for us to be something real, like turning it all on me, but at the same time wanting all of me. And I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have boundaries at that time. I was giving him my all. He was getting all of my attention, and he knew that. He 100% knew that, and he knew what I wanted. He knew I wasn't going to go anywhere, at least, in that moment he felt that. And um, so yeah, that was my experience of being breadcrumbs. Like he was literally just giving me a little piece of the dream relationship that I wanted. And I don't think that was fair because all I asked for was honesty and I just wanted clarity. And here's the thing, your true love, I feel like the relationship for you is not going to make you feel confused. It's not going to make you feel insecure. It's not going to make you feel like, what are we? It's, your person is going to make sure that your nervous system feels at ease and that who you are and your place in his life. And again, if he wanted to, he would. And there's no reason that you should be feeling confused and like, what are we? Where do I stand? Because again, I didn't feel like a priority, but I also felt like I couldn't say that because I'm not his girlfriend. But I'm not his girlfriend because he doesn't want it to be like that. So what am I doing? What am I doing with someone that doesn't want me in the same way that I want them? I was like, I cannot believe I'm in this situation. Um, and again, he would be like, a real woman would wait. Like a real woman waits for her man to to finish building. And in my head, I'm like, but you're not my man. You don't want to be my man. You're not claiming to be my man. Like, what are you saying? Like, you're just giving me empty promises. And it was just like towards the end, it was just a lot of like, I was just telling him that. I was telling him what it was. I was telling him that he was not taking emotional accountability. I was telling him that he would always twist everything on me. Oh, but you have boundaries, or but me what? I have walls because you're not making me feel safe anymore to open up. You're not making me feel safe like you actually love me the way you say you do. You're not making me feel like you want this. So how am I supposed to be so open? Like, it doesn't work that way for me. I feel like you want my love, you want my energy, you want my divine love, you want my attention, you want me to be about you. But what? I get empty promises and I get confusion, I get stressed. I was stressed, to to be confused and feel almost rejected, even though you're talking to them on the phone, but it just feels like it's only on their time. It's only when it's convenient to them. It's a lot of just like what you're saying is not adding up with what you're doing, and all I want is honesty. If it's not going to happen, just tell me. Just be real with me, It'll hurt, sure, but I'd rather you do that than play me because that's one thing that's one thing I do not like. So it was like 10 months of that. And I felt that from like a couple weeks into it. So why did I accept that? Why did I stay so long? Like I really just had so much hope for it. I really hoped like this was going to be the one. And I don't think maybe that's the right way to approach dating and when you're talking to someone. So I'm not, giving the blame all on this person, but he did breadcrumb me. Okay. That he did. He did do that. And he's never going to acknowledge that. And it's so crazy how they can't even apologize for wasting your time. They can't even acknowledge that they wasted your time because it's just so crazy. Like in their eyes, well, having time with me is like that's the prize. And I get it, yeah, you're a great guy and you got good things going for you, but you're not honest. And that's really important to me, honesty. So I just reflected to myself, like, am I really going to take this? Am I really, I have a choice? I have a choice to stay and believe his promises and believe this plan that he wanted and that he said he would, do with me. Or do I just move on? And have peace in my heart that I did my best. I tried to make this into something. It wasn't being reciprocated. And that's all I can do is just close that door and walk away. I had the choice. He wasn't keeping me there. It was me believing his promises that were keeping me there. He was a good, good what's the word, like he was just a good like storyteller. He was great at selling the dream to me. He was great at telling me what I wanted to hear, and he knows that. But I've been through too much to accept that. Took me a while. And I told you there was a little breakup in between, because I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was just like, I don't want to do long distance. Like I'm dishonoring myself. That's a boundary I put. That's a standard that I put. The standard was I don't want long distance. So I lowered my standard, right? I was willing to do long distance because I saw potential in him. But even me lowering my standard, he did not meet me there. So it's going to go back up because I know what I've gone through and I know what it has taken me to get to this place, to love myself, to have certain standards in relationships because I know what I had accepted in the past. And I also, I value my time and my energy. And so I had to pull back and I had to say, no, absolutely not, because that's a choice. I choose who I give my energy to and how much I give them of my energy and my time, my presence, my words. It's so crazy how we get so wrapped up in dating. Like, you meet somebody that you have this chemistry and this spark with, and all things out the window, and you're like texting them 24/7, phone calls 24/7, or at least like one phone call, but it's like 3 hours long and it's cute. It's cute. Sometimes it's cute, but then you wake up and you realize like we're grown. This is not what a real relationship, this is not a solid foundation for a real relationship. And sometimes it works for some people, but I've done too too many times I've done that. And you know, I'm here, I'm single because that didn't work. So yeah, when you're being breadcrumb, they want to keep you. They want to keep you interested. They want to give you just enough of what you want and what you desire to keep you there. So they know like you're not going anywhere. Um, and you just gotta see the signs. It's inconsistency, is lack of emotional responsibility. It's not actions being matched. It's just a lot of texting and calling versus like actual planning dates, building a relationship, vulnerability, the hard part of like opening up, right? Vulnerability, hard part of like sticking through like maybe tough situations, like how do they respond when something was said by them or something was done by them that you didn't like and you brought it to their attention? What is their response? If they're not willing to find a solution, if they're not willing to hold space for how you feel, if they just dismiss it or they just try to like put a band-aid over it with gifts and dates or whatever, that's not going to build a strong, solid relationship if that is what you are looking for. And I just want this to be for the girls to not waste their time. Like don't waste your time on somebody who's just selling you potential and isn't really going to step up and be the partner that you need or the partner that you're looking to be in a relationship with. You don't deserve to have to just linger around waiting for someone to do what they say they're going to do. And obviously, like, use your instincts, right? Some people you do build together, but that's like when you're already in the relationship, but when you're dating and you're like, you just got to be honest. As good as they may look, as strong as the physical chemistry may be, you got to think long term. You got to think, is this my person that I'm going to build with? Because when it's good, it's good. That's the easy part. I feel like that's the easy part. I think we just get so caught up in the chemistry and the physical attraction and this like I feel so drawn to you in the lust versus the actual love versus like an actual real relationship, because relationships are not all about loving each other and just like the happy things. It's also the tough parts of what it takes to build a family, if that's what you want, what it takes to be with someone long term for 5 years. You know what I mean? So I just, I share this for the girls that maybe have a similar experience. I was just so shocked. I was so shocked that I was breadcrumbs. I've always heard the term, and other girlfriends of mine have expressed to me how they were breadcrumb. It's just that for me, I feel like guys have always been pretty honest with me from the beginning, like this is what it's gonna be. I'm not ready for a relationship, or I can't give you what you want. Um, you know what? I just never had someone lie like that. Like lie about like they really, maybe because I'm older, so when I was dating in the past, I don't think I was caring so much about family at that time. I think I just wanted a lover, like I wanted a boyfriend, but now it's like, no, I want to build something with you, I think I just approached it so differently when I was younger. So I was like, not that I was okay, but like I think it was just easier to be honest. When you're younger, I think it's just easier to be honest. Like, I don't know, or maybe it was just the guys that I uh was with. Um, I mean, there was this other person that like kind of played me, but I didn't feel like it was being breadcrumbs, because I caught it on pretty quick. But this was like 10 months of it. It just like blew my mind. It just blew my mind because like it just felt like I was being just like drawn into something that was never was never gonna happen. And I don't like that. I didn't like that. And it hurt so much. And it messed up my my what? My intuition, my like, how did I stay for so long? But you don't want to stay in those thoughts, right? It's like, okay, they taught me some things. And, thank God it didn't go into a year. And, you move on. You let yourself heal from it, but you move on, like you're not going to stay there. Again, you have a choice. I have a choice. I kept feeling confused. I kept feeling like I was giving my all and I was not getting the same as far as emotional. Now, here's the thing, like men will say, but I like took you out to eat. I like, I helped you with this or whatever. And it's like, I'm talking about emotionally. You were not reciprocating what I was, giving you. And it's crazy because to some men, they don't think they need to do that emotional, like, depth of, building an emotional connection, like a real deep emotional connection. So yeah, this was probably all over the place, but I just really felt like sharing my story with you because I can look back now and kind of see things for what they were. Because when you're in it, it's hard sometimes because you really want something with this person and you just like you just already built a connection with this person. So it's not easy to just walk away, especially when you're coming from a place of I really want to be in a relationship. I really want to be with this person. I really want this to work. That's where they get you because they know this is what you want. You want it more than they do. And that's just what it is. And remember, it's never about you, okay? I had to step out of it and not let this affect my self-worth because it's not that you are not worthy of their love. It's just that they are incapable of giving you the love that you deserve. It is their incapabilities. So you thankfully I got out of that situation. And I hope that if you find yourself in any situation like that, you close that door because that's you honoring yourself. That's you knowing your worth. That's you not accepting the bare minimum. Okay? We're not accepting little crumbs. We're not taking little snacks. No, no, no. That was so silly. So share your experience if you've ever felt like you've experienced being breadcrumbed, how you stepped out of it, what were the signs for you? My message is to know your worth, to step away from a situation where you feel like you're wasting your time and you feel confused and you don't like love is never confusing. Love will make you feel safe. Love will make you feel empowered. Love will make you feel seen. Love will make you feel secure and trust your instinct. All right. Because you got a strong, strong intuition. All right. Thank you for being here. I hope you subscribe. I hope you share this with any of your girlies that might be going through this. And I hope you stay and you watch more. I'll be back and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.